All constitutional rights invoked, none waived. All constitutional rights invoked, none waived. Let's read this article, and I'm going to break something down for you guys that's very important. First of all, before we begin, this federal judge in this article is the same federal judge that just got appointed to our injunction. Okay? Now let's read this. I'm going to read up underneath the picture first. It's going to be talking about last year. Then we're going to get into the article. Phoenix police stand in front of police headquarters on May 30th, 2020 in Phoenix, waiting for protesters marching to protest the death of George Floyd. A controversial Arizona law restricting how the public can film police is facing its first legal challenge with the lawsuit filed by the ACLU. The group's Arizona chapter, joined by several Arizona news organizations, filed a petition on Tuesday, August 23rd, 2022, in federal court to stop the law. Okay? So they filed an injunction to stop that federal law. Okay? Now let's read. A federal judge on Friday blocked enforcement of a new Arizona law restricting how the public and journalists can film police, agreeing with the American Civil Liberties Union and multiple media organizations who argued it violated the First Amendment. U.S. District Judge Judge Tucci issued a preliminary injunction that stops the law from being enforced when it is set to take effect on September 24th. The quick decision came after Republican Arizona Attorney General Mark Brnovich and the prosecutor and sheriff's office in Maricopa County told the judge they did not plan to defend the law. They were named as defendants in the lawsuit filed last month. The law was enacted by the Republican-controlled legislature over unified opposition from Democrats and signed by GOP Governor Doug Ducey on July 6. It makes it illegal to knowingly film police officers 8 feet to 2.5 meters or closer if the officer tells the person to stop, and on private property. An officer who decides someone is interfering or the area is unsafe can order the person to stop filming even if the recording is being made with the owner's permission. The penalty is a misdemeanor that would likely incur a fine without jail time. K.M. Bell, an ACLU attorney who lobbied against the bill at the legislature and was in court Friday, said they were pleased the judge acted quickly. We are extremely gratified that Arizonans will not have their constitutional rights infringed and their ability to record the police criminalized by this law, Bell said. Bystanders' cell phone videos are largely credited with revealing police misconduct such as the 2020 death of George Floyd at the hands of Minneapolis police officers, and reshaping the conversation around police transparency. But Republican Arizona lawmakers say the legislation was needed to limit people with cameras who deliberately impede officers. Tucci gave the legislature a week to decide whether it wants to defend the law. The ACLU and media groups are seeking a permanent injunction, as they should. Republican Rep. John Kavanaugh, a retired police officer who sponsored the law, said he was taken by surprise when Brnovich did not move to defend the law. I was assuming that the Attorney General would do his job as the state's attorney and defend a law passed by the state, Kavanaugh said. We are trying to get together with the House Speaker and the Senate President and see if the legislature will defend it. But there's also the possibility of some outside group possibly stepping up. Brnovich's office is charged with defending state laws. But in this case, his spokesperson Katie Connor said that because the Attorney General does not have enforcement authority in those type of cases, they were the wrong party to sue. Matt Kelly, an attorney who represented the news organization that sued, argued in his court papers that Brnovich is not correct. He noted that by law, the Attorney General could step in and enforce laws that county prosecutors normally would. Kavanaugh argued that allowing people to record police up close while they are doing enforcement, like making arrests or dealing with a disturbed person, could put officers in danger, and noted that he made several changes to address the concerns of the ACLU. These include changing the restriction from 16 feet, 4.8 meters, to 8 feet. So I think this is unbelievably reasonable, he said. And if what's causing the problem is my limiting it to just these law enforcement characters in all encounters, how ironic that trying to limit the scope of government reach is unconstitutional. But I guess that's the world we live in. Kelly said that the law was very problematic. He praised Tucci for quickly agreeing that the law did not meet the requirements needed to restrict First Amendment protections for film and law enforcement activities. There wasn't anything in the law that said the person recording has to be interfering with law enforcement or harassing officers or otherwise doing something that would create a danger or a distraction, Kelly said. All it prohibited was simply standing there, making a video recording. And since that's activity that's protected by the First Amendment, this law was on its face unconstitutional. Now that is what I'm talking about. Now we're going to stop there because that highlights enough of what I want to get to my point. First of all, this judge, he understands the different tiers of law, okay? This judge understands the different tiers of law, and this judge, he also understands that you can't use a law that was made by a state legislature to turn off a constitutional amendment when it's invoked. You can't do it. There's no way around it. There's no way around it. Okay? And, you know, they needed to be chastised because these people think that they could do what they want to do. Look at what I'm going through with the state of Arizona. Okay? They done stole lottery money from me. Okay? They holding on to and ain't releasing. They fucking around with my court cases and just doing what they want to do. So this is why you have to know how to go to the authorities with an injunction and put them in a situation where they're going to get a fine or get their asses thrown in jail if they don't do what's right according to the law. Because these people feel like just because they work there or they know people in the positions that they could temporarily make illegal decisions, and that is going to lead to abusing you and making you make a decision that you would have not have made. And under the law, that is Hobbs Act extortion using financial instability under the RICO law. Okay? Hobbs Act extortion is a predicate act under the RICO law. Now, getting back to this article, let's talk about energy. Okay? Now that we already just talked about what that article I just read. Now let's look at this. McCormick versus Dreamy Draw Justice Court and all. So I sued the Dreamy Draw Justice Court and I sued the Arizona Superior Court, okay? And I asked the federal judge, I said, I want you to recognize all the violations of the Constitution, okay? The constitutional amendments, okay? All of the constitutional amendments are invoked. So the judge can go through there and he can go through those pleadings and his understanding of all the constitutional amendments, since they're all invoked, he can go through there and he can turn off those laws that come in conflict with those constitutional rights, okay? So which means that the Dreamy Draw Justice Court, what they did is they allowed the other side to admit their evidence, okay? Well, I admitted my evidence a week early and the day of, and I made sure, so that they can't lie, I made sure to call and make sure they received it. They said they received it, okay, the day of the trial and before, the week before I sent it. They said they sent it. So I sent it both times because I knew that that's the only way out that they would try to have, was to try to say they never got it, okay? Out of all the lawsuits that I filed in my life, I've always filed everything that I need to file, okay? This is nothing new to me. So when they say that they didn't receive that evidence, that's why wouldn't you have received it when it's on the case? Why wouldn't you have received it when I faxed it in? Why wouldn't you have received it when the employees at Kinko's, FedEx Kinko's, can be subpoenaed to federal court and exactly, absolutely say yes, they sent it through their transmissions? Those transmissions can be subpoenaed, okay? So let's not play. Now let's get back to this. That judge that issued that order blocking that unconstitutional law that the state of Arizona put in place to block people from filming the police, that's basically trying to have totalitarian powers. Like, How you gonna tell somebody that they can't film if that's protected by the by the First Amendment? You can't just make a law and turn it off. Now, you can make a law and turn it off. If I'm a person that doesn't know my rights and you want to, put that charge on me, then if I don't know how to get out of that charge, then that charge is just on me. Okay, the state legislatures, they have the ability to still make unconstitutional laws. Okay, but if those laws are challenged, they're not going to ride. Okay, that's why people would say, well, that's the law. How is it unconstitutional? Because the state can adopt its own laws. Okay, they can adopt their own laws through the state legislature. When they adopt their own laws through the state legislature, some of those laws can be deemed unconstitutional because they will come in conflict with certain rights when those rights is invoked. But a lot of people don't know how to invoke those rights. Okay, they don't know how to assess those rights. So if you don't know how to assess those rights, more than likely you don't have those rights because you can't prove that you placed someone on notice that you actually asserted those rights. Okay, so this is the whole big reason why all the court cases that I did, all of them are going to get overturned. All of them, every last single one of them. When we get around to it, they're all gonna get overturned because they were all fraud upon the court and they all constitutional violations. They have to automatically be turned over. They have to automatically be corrected, or the actors is going to get jail time or fines. So it's going to be their obligation to find a way using their laws to correct it. Okay, to give the person the redress that they are guaranteed. Okay, because America, the United States of America, is not a democracy. The United States of America is a constitutional republic. Everything else is de facto. Okay, everything else is an idea of law. Okay, now that's all I wanted to say because I had a lot on my mind in regards to this, and it's exciting to see a judge that understand that the state tries to go and use powers and do shit that they ain't supposed to do. Okay, that's just like when I talked to the Arizona Lottery's attorney, Sherry Zendry, and I told her about my money that they hold on to between several different games. I'm not gonna mention those games. She knows, okay, which games I won, and what they're doing, okay, is sitting back saying, well, we not gonna do nothing until you file a lawsuit, and when you file that lawsuit against us, then we can change what we have and we can go ahead and put it to you. But you want me to file a lawsuit so y'all can have my business all out in the street to everybody, okay? Knowing exact of what and what amounts, and I already stressed to them that I didn't want that information out there, okay? But now the information is going to be out there because they forced me. They didn't do the right thing. This shit was happening. A lot of this shit happened between April 1st of this year and between today. So that's when some of it, the rest of it continued. But it's been happening. It's been happening, okay? So we're not going to get into all the aspects of what we found out. But Sherry Zendry at the Arizona Lottery, the lottery's attorney, she knows what I'm talking about. The multi-state lottery up in Des Moines, Iowa, Patricia Engel, she knows what I'm talking about. Kathy at the multi-state lottery up in Des Moines, Iowa, she knows what I'm talking about. Eddie Tipton, that was served 25 years, that was convicted for 25 years for rigging the lotteries, he gonna know what's going on in this situation, okay? Jason Curlin, the lottery attorney that's in federal court right now in New York, he's gonna know a little bit about this thing too, okay? So they better get it together because ain't nothing stopping. Ain't nothing stopping. It's only going to get worse because they did what they did. Now,